Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jonathan Allen at Floodwater Studios. We use PreSonus Studio One Professional here at Floodwater, and we want to start a Let's Get Basic series on how to use it. Let's dive into it. Now, like I said, Studio One Professional is what we use here in the studio. And we wanted to, bring this out to you guys, let you see exactly how to use it, how to get started. You're getting into recording, you have that itch to do something. This is one of the ways you can do it. So, Studio One is a DAW, it's a digital audio workstation. There's multiple choices out there. You have Studio One, obviously, GarageBand, Pro Tools, Logic, tons of different options out there. I used to use Pro Tools for the longest time and got certified in Pro Tools and found Studio One, and it was so much better in my mind, so much easier to get to what you needed to do. So that's what I had switched to here. Now, when you first open Studio One, this is your screen that you get here. So what we want to do is we want to start a new song. You can see a list on the left hand side of everything you've currently worked on, or you're working on in the past, or you're working on now. So everything here you can see, from our different Christmas songs that we just put out to the songs I put out on the Jonathan Allen Wishful Forgetting album. So anything, if it's already there, you can click on it, it'll open the session, you're good to go. But for here, we're going to click New. Now, also, what we're going to do is you can choose a bunch of different templates. They have some other things that are already kind of set up for you. But what we want to do here is just start a brand new record and mix. It's a new Studio One song. And then on the right-hand side next to that, we want to name this session. So we're going to name it Floodwater Studios. Let's Get Basic. Now, once we are naming it, underneath you can click the location where you'd like to save the file. Once you have that all set, you're just going to hit OK. And now we are on our main project page. Now, the first thing that we want to do when we're on the project page is obviously we need to add some tracks into this. So there's a couple different options. You can go up here to the menu and you can click on track. You can add tracks, add audio track, mono, stereo, instruments, lots of options. Or you can just double click over in the left hand side here. When you double click, it pops up this simple menu. So we're just going to focus on audio tracks today. As you can see, you can name your track right away. You can choose how many tracks you would like to add at once. You can pick colors. You can go through the formats. Right now, we're just going to add one track, and we're going to hit OK. So here we now have our track. Here you can mute, solo, record enable, or monitor your track. We'll get into more of that on a different video. But let's say you want to record more than just one thing, and you want to record a couple things at once. Now, like I said, double click on the left hand side, you can add multiple tracks. So we're going to add another 8 tracks here. Type in your number, just hit enter, and we have 8 more tracks. So it numbers them on the left hand side, so total of 9. Now, one thing that I really want to stress, and it's going to save you a ton of headache in the future. When you have your tracks, and there's multiple here, name them. Make sure you're going through and naming your tracks. Because when you are deep in a session, you want to be able to find what you're looking for quickly. That is 100% key. So let's say you have a couple drum tracks. So to name them, what you're going to do, where it says track 1, track 2, just double click and it pops up the edit there. So you can make that. So say we have a kick drum. Now here's a little tip. If you hit tab, it will go down to the next track automatically, where you can start typing right away. And here we have a snare drum. Now we have some overheads. We're going to do a left channel. and we're going to do a right channel so we can get a good stereo field for our drum set when we have a simple mic setup like this. Next, maybe you have a bass guitar, and then you have a couple of electrics. So electric 1 and electric 2, and then I think I did an exclamation point there. So we're going to go back into here. Don't worry about that mix tab. We're going to get there in a little bit. But I'm going to go back into here, just change that to a 1, and then come down. We're going to tab twice, and then after the 2 electrics, maybe we have an acoustic and then a vocal. So now you have your 9 tracks set up, and you have them labeled. They're all named so you can see what they are. Another thing that I really like to stress when I'm helping people out getting things set up, or just even in my own studio, I have to do this or I lose track of things, is I color code everything. Now each track here is on its own color, kind of on a gradient, how they just set it up manually. When they do that, it's automatic, but you can change each one individually. So I'll show you here for vocals. It starts with V, so I always make my vocal tracks violet. I'm very scientific when I'm thinking these things through. So to color a track, all the way on the left hand side you'll see your color bar. If you click that once, you can get the palette here. I always click violet for vocals. The guitar starts with G, so I always make those tracks green. The acoustic, I always choose the same green. It's this guy right here. And for the electrics, well now, wait a second, we're trying to color 2 tracks at once. So if you click on one of them and then hold shift, click on the second, it will highlight both. At that point, you can click on one of the colors and you can change for both at the same time. For electrics, I always go with this guy right here. Still green, just gives it a little more variation for things. The bass, obviously, bass starts with B, so you probably guessed it. That one's going blue. Now the drums, this is where I'm going to throw you off a little bit. Drums are pretty aggressive, so I'm going to highlight all of them using click, shift, click again. And I'm going to change those to red because red is aggressive and drums are aggressive. Like I said, I am a scientist and I stand by that. So now that everything is named and color coordinated, once you're inside that session, you have a bunch of tracks going. We have different songs that have 20, 24, up to 50 tracks going all at once. So you're scrolling up and down and trying to find things. Labeled and colored is exactly what you need to do to help you quickly navigate and find what you're looking for. The next thing, I just want to click on a couple key points here. Down at the very bottom, you have your transport controls. So this will automatically default on your timeline settings to seconds. So when you're going through, it'll count your seconds. Some people like samples, some people like bars. Studio One also does video, so you could set it to frames if you'd like. I've never used that one personally, but I like to stick to seconds. That's just how I like it, but I know some people like samples and bars. So whatever you would like to do or mess around with, have at it. You have your basic controls, record, playback, stop. That's going to get you through a lot. And next to that is your loop section. So we'll get more into the details of how to loop things and how that works as well in a different video. But the only other thing I wanted to speak on is down here in the bottom right-hand side of the transport settings, we have our tempo. So you can have a click track, a metronome that you're playing with while you're recording, so everything is tight, everything sounds good, it's not sloppy. A couple different options to set your tempo. Where it says tempo down here, if you click with your mouse, the tempo that you're clicking with your mouse, it will start to change the tempo on here. Or you can click right into it, single click, and you can type in the BPMs that you're looking for. You hit enter, it saves it for the entire session. Now, earlier we did have something pop up, a little teaser if you will, down here in the bottom right hand side where it says mix. If you click on mix, it gives you all of your faders for your tracks. Now, you guys don't want to miss the next video that we do in this Studio One tutorial series. So go ahead and comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on the next upload for this series. And if you have any questions at all or comments, just drop them down in the comment section. We read all of them, we respond to all of them, so we'd be more than happy to talk with you. If you have any other questions, like I said, this has been the basics of getting started with Studio One. So keep an eye out for the next one. Hope you have a good day. See ya.